At the start of the egg meta, Catarzan felt like a promising specialist with lots of potential, but with the release of cats like Soap Cat and just generally going further into the egg meta, his time has pretty much passed. These days it's easy to tell why. He doesn't have good enough stats to justify his cost, and his niche has been oversaturated. I'm making it my goal to adjust and balance every single egg unit possible, starting with the rares, then moving to the specials, and then the super rares. This one's bad, but it's not like meme bad. Fixing this guy shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Now, I know it's pretty much inevitable that comparisons to Macho Legs Cat and Catalite are gonna show up, and while I think these are good comparisons to make in this discussion, I'm not gonna consider them too much. It's helpful to know that I want to buff cats to be better at their niche, not to be copies of other cats. Let's start with the most divisive choice, the health and damage. I decided to go with 14,000 even health and about 5,880 damage per hit. While deciding this, I had to consider that the Strong and Behemoth Slayer buffs both stack together, but also that Catarzan cannot gain plus levels. Keep it in the back of your head that these are based off of level 30 stats. After all, with such an obscene price range and such a high spammability, it should be worth that price and respawn time. More importantly than that though, I felt his range should have been buffed from 310 to 335. I was considering giving him long distance, but decided against it. There's not much to this, it's just a good quality of life buff, and it helps in the long run, even if it may not seem big at first. And finally I wanted to move on to speed and knockback. I decided to bring his speed up to 17. This will give him an edge against aliens who are very backliner heavy, and prevent him from getting juggled by most enemies. Hopefully. And this choice was a bit difficult, but I wanted to bring his knockbacks down to 2. And there's a reason why. I've noticed something about him. Catarzan is extremely vulnerable to juggling, even against his best target, Scissorex. Like, for a unit with 3 knockbacks, this is kind of embarrassing. And this is a part of why I made all the choices I made. The speed buff is to help him recover quicker from knockbacks, and make better use of his immunity to slow, alongside his health buffs and knockback decrease, preventing him from getting juggled more often than not. You might be wondering why I didn't do anything about the price, and that's just because I consider it kind of a cheap get-out-of-jail-free card when buffing cats. Although I will use it for a couple of these guys, Catarzan's not one of them. He can almost be seen as a sort of alien specialist cyborg cat. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about Catarzan. With these buffs, he should act as a much better mid-ranger, especially against aliens and behemoths. While he's mostly a specialist, this should also help him deal with multi-trait stages and not get completely screwed over by them. Now this was a pretty good start, but I also want to make something very clear. At the end of each of these episodes, I want to ask for your own interpretation on how you would buff or nerf any of these egg units. Why not leave a comment on your own buffs? Get the discussion going. But for right now, that's Catarzan. I'm not really sure how to end this, so just have this funny thing.
Doing your mom.